Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I declare the council meeting CL25 Bar 2 open and welcome everyone here. Please note that this meeting is being live streamed and the consequences of that. I shall start with our usual karakia. Whakatau mai te wara, whakawātea mai te hinanaro, whakarite mai te tinana, kia ea ai ngā mahi. Ai. An apology from Councillor Henry, and I note that Councillor Joyce is online or will be joining us online. There is no consideration of late items. Oh, sorry. Moving on second for Councillor Henry's. Councillor Thwaites, Councillor Sol, in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. No consideration of late items. Are there any declarations of interest? No? Okay. There are no public excluded items. And today we do have a public forum, and I see that Peter Willis is up front. So Peter, if you now have your time, if you press the button on the microphones, when it goes red, you're live.
Yeah, hello there. I'm Peter Willis. I'm living at 17 Raymond Ave Te Puke, and we've had this ongoing problem since this new stormwater project and subdivision has been going on up on Dunlop Road. Increase in flooding. Like, we've been there for 21 years, and these people across the road have been living there, the same amount of period or more, with no problems until this stormwater project was put in there. And all the extra water that's coming down from the new subdivision is causing major flooding to our properties on the lower end of it. We've been battling this since 2022, when I first saw them put the project in, and spoke to the engineers and told them that it would never work. And hence, here we are today, the project that does not work. So we're just wanting to know what's going to be done about it with future development that's going on up there at the moment. We've had stage 1 put in, which has caused major flooding. Like I said, been here for so long, had one flooding event in 2011. And since they put the project in, there's been 6 flooding, events since then. So we've sort of been battling, trying to see what you intend to do about it. You got houses across the road there that have had water coming into their properties from it, and they're not very happy people either. So, and you're carrying ahead, there's 3 more subdivisions going in above it. So you imagine the amount of water that's coming off the roofs of those houses, off the tar seal, and where's it all going? In the same spot down through these properties here, and putting extreme risk on these places for flooding. So we just want to know what you want to do about it. I have a solution to the problem, but obviously people don't want to listen to it. So
well, now's your chance if you want to say what the solution is.
Well, to me, there needs to be a stop bank put up on the other side of the creek, so the houses on the other side are protected. And then it's a matter of you'll have to purchase the property on this side where there's no houses, so you can run as much stormwater through there as you like then. But at the moment, you're just creating a major problem for these people with their houses on the other side there. The risk of flooding, it's not if, it's going to be when. And we just don't understand why you deem it as a flooding area, but you allow a subdivision to go ahead, which is higher than the rest of it, and where'd they expect all the stormwater to go? You're just flooding the whole area down below it. Resource consent should have been pulled on it straight away. I asked for that to happen, and now they're going ahead with stage 2 of the subdivision. It's just like, you don't care about the people down below. It's just somebody's wanting to line their pockets by, building these subdivisions up above there without any forethought into it. So, whoever signed off on the resource consent obviously didn't do his due diligence in finding out what happens to the water once it leaves their pond. It's not a very big pond, and it wasn't designed for stop the flood water. It's just a settlement pond. And you've got an amount of water that goes into there, goes through a big hole, and then it's got about a 12-inch pipe that feeds into the pond. And you get any heavy rain, it just bypasses that and straight down I didn't realise there's photos up there, but and you can see what's happened to the property. Major flooding. There's animals up the background there too. That I stood on the bridge and watched the rest of those float through under the culvert on the road there. So, yeah, we just want to know what you want to do about it. My suggestion is that putting the stop bank in and the council purchase the low land that runs alongside the stream there. So you can see the major problems it was causing, the size of the logs that come down. So.
Okay. You finished? Great. So thank you for the presentation. I'll open up to questions, but I do want to note that we I helped organise a meeting with our stormwater engineers to explain the issues there. Up until I heard about this public forum, I thought that had been explained to you, that the stormwater modelling and what the consequences from the subdivision were or were not. Do you not feel that that's been adequately answered?
Well, it's all very well you can draw something up on a computer, but if they don't have real life experience, you know, perhaps these guys, I won't say what I was going to say, but you should.
Well, no, Margaret, when
yeah,
I don't know where he was going, but we don't allow disrespectful comments. So let's just, if he wants to withdraw, you know, not say something, let's not encourage him to say something he shouldn't.
Yeah. Yes, well, obviously we're right, you know, what they drew up on the computer doesn't work. If you read all the, I've got emails and stuff here, resource consent that we need to put into this meeting, and it shows how Western Bay have failed in all their policies and things that they've done on that resource consent. I've underlined all the ones that are there. So who's going to be held accountable for that? You know, they write up a resource consent and they're supposed to abide by it. And there's a lot of stuff in here that they have not done. You know, they've caused major damage to the area and the environment. We've had erosion done down the side of the creek there. And it's all near that they're not supposed to do all that stuff. So, yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Daly's got a question.
Peter, thanks for coming in today. I know you've spoken to a few of the councillors already and site visits with myself and Laura and John and Don. So I know you're very passionate about this subject. And I see you brought some of your neighbours in with you today. I believe they live on the other side of the stream. And unfortunately, we didn't get a proper...
Sorry, is this a question, Councillor Daly?
Yeah. So the photos didn't really show the effect on the neighbours on the other side of the stream. So I'm just wondering how high the water actually came to their houses when it flooded.
My name is Kate King and I live at 26 Muir Place. From the photos which Peter put up, our property, we're quite lucky, we're quite raised in comparison to other people. So the water came up across our driveway and partway up our parking area. Our neighbours directly next to us, it almost reached their front house, the front of their house. It came up as it got into two of their cars, so they had to completely clean out their cars and everything else. The neighbour along from them, it came right up to his storefront and was lapping at his door. And Bev and Sue, who live just further along, they have our driveway and then their driveway, and it came up to the fence that meets the two driveways, and partially into their property as well. We actually ended up with the fire brigade coming down. Thankfully, I knew the fire chief at the stage. So the fire brigade actually came down and washed silt off our driveway. It was a good 2 to 3 inches in depth was the amount of silt. It was just everywhere. And as I said, we were lucky that the fire brigade came and helped us. But I wouldn't want to go through that again. It did make me appreciate what the people in Auckland the previous week, and also the people in Hastings and the Gisborne area, what they went through. But with the way that the water comes out of the culvert, it's going straight into a sandbank on the other side of the road, on the other side of the stream. It's not going with the stream, it's going into a bank, which is going to corrode the bank and create more problems as well. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Kate. I now have Councillor Murray Benj.
So thank you for your submission. Tell me, how long has this been going on? You said that with the subdivision up top, it's made it worse, but for how long has the area been flooding?
Since 2022.
You didn't have a problem before then?
No. We had one instance before that where the water came onto the paddock, and that was because there was a log stuck in the culvert. I've been living in the area for 23 years, and it's only ever happened, as I said, it only came into the paddock in front of our property, and that was only once.
Thank you.
Yeah, it would have been November 22, October, I think it was October 22 was the first one, since that was after they put that stormwater project in. Up until then,
No problem.
you know, and then there were 6 vents in the meantime since they put that project in. I mean, it's not rocket science, you know, water comes out of the sky and you put tin roofs on a house and what mix down, what do you expect? You know, it was farmland before, it soaked it all up and no problems. And then to go ahead and want to put 3 more subdivisions in there of over 400 houses, it's just not on. It's just, you know, it's pretty disgusting way to treat us people down the bottom.
Thank you, Peter. Deputy Mayor Scrimgeour.
Thank you, and thank you for coming in. And I don't think there's any dispute about the magnitude of the flooding that you've experienced, and certainly have our sympathy for that. But some time ago, when you'd raised this issue, we were supplied reports from council, and I can't remember the exact figure, but I think it showed something like 6% or attributed something like 6% of the water flow to coming from the subdivision area. I might be wrong on that figure, but the point I'm making, it was considered to be quite a small proportion of the water flow. Are you saying that you don't agree with council's modelling of the water impacts?
Exactly.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I think that brings us then to the public forum, but I appreciate you coming in and raising the issue once again with us, and explaining what your problems are. Councillor Murray Benj.
So I think it's important to explain that when people
No,
come to
Councillor Murray Benj,
public
we're not going to
forum,
just, no,
you have
no.
not explained to them that it now
No,
goes
Councillor
to
Murray
staff
Benj,
for a
no.
report back. It goes to staff.
Councillor Murray Benj, I'm chair and I'm speaking.
Yeah.
Please do not talk over the top. We listened to your report. Thank you very much for that, Peter and Kate. And we'll consider that with staff and elected members after the meeting. It's not a decision making now. Okay, that's all it is. But it's some people expect a decision right away, and that's just not how it works. Okay, but I appreciate you coming in and for explaining that to us.
Okay,
Thank
but
you.
we'd like you to consider what I put forward to solve the problem.
Yep.
I mean,
And look, it's absolutely right that we now consider that, and staff can comment on the feasibility of a stock bank or
Yep.
whatever other solutions there might be. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, moving on now to pages 7 to 9, which is the notice of motion from Councillor Coxhead. So I shall invite Councillor Coxhead to introduce her notice of motion.
Thank you, Chair. It's probably no secret that I've had some concerns about what value we get from our membership with Local Government New Zealand. And personally, I see no harm in us exploring the benefit, the cost, and obviously get a sense of what other elected members believe to be the best way forward. Is it something we want to continue supporting or not? I'm not going to go into all my various reasons personally. I'll say that for the 18th, but just bringing it forward today, seeking the CEO's assistance to commission a report for us for the 18th. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Coxhead. I just want to say that I'm happy to support this, since I'd already given a commitment that we would have this debate. Not quite how I'd have done it, but I appreciate the notice of motion and we'll be supporting it. I want to also just highlight that this is asking a report from council to be presented on the 18th, I think it is. And so now is probably not the time to debate LG&Z and the issues. It's just about seeking a report. So I'm not looking for lots of discussion now, but if anyone else wants to speak, they are welcome to do so. No? Okay, so it's been seconded by Councillor Daly. I shall put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Carried. Thank you very much. Moving on now to thank you. Okay, so we're just discussing, there's one attachment which is in confidential. So we'll keep in the open meeting for now and go through the substance of the report. And then there's one, as a attachment in confidential, which we may move into confidential if you want to ask questions about that one. Okay, so Ariel, the floor is yours.
Kia ora. Kia ora. I'm actually going to hand over to the Chief Executive,
Sure.
which he knows about.
So I am going to introduce this report. I'll largely take it as read, but I do want to acknowledge the importance of this decision around waters. It is a significant decision that council needs to make, and as such, we've had several workshops leading up until this point. So I'm assuming and hope that everyone feels well informed about the decision that we're going to make today. The confidential report that the Mayor referred to was uploaded this morning. It doesn't provide any, it provides a lot of detail, but it doesn't provide a new position. If anything, it absolutely supports our recommendation that we go and consult on our preferred option of a multi-council approach to waters. While it is new information for you, you've seen the summary of that previously. So that is our preferred approach today, that we go out on the multi-council position. We'll bring back a document, the consultation document, for you to approve on March the 18th. That'll include a number of issues. We've previously told you our approach to going out with ranges, which we will do. So you'll see those on the 18th in terms of that messaging. It'll also talk to the question around whether there should be 2 waters or 3 waters. So as you know, all of our analysis to date has been around 3 waters, regardless of where we end up. Council needs to be able to provide certainty that waters is ring fenced, including stormwater. So it's right that we've done that analysis. We will make it very clear in the consultation document and ask questions about preference from our community around that, regardless of what option we take. You know that council will still be ultimately responsible for stormwater. It'll just be whether we retain that in-house or I guess contract out or push some of those services over to the entity. Ultimately though, we're still responsible for it and have to show the financial sustainability around that. So I think that's all I want to say. As I said before, we won't be proceeding until you've seen that document on the 18th, and that'll be the step before we go out for the formal consultation. So happy to take any questions, but other than that, we'll take it as read.
Thank you, John. I have a question from Councillor Coxhead.
Well, as far as I can understand, I think people actually, in this, there is a question here. I think people want to know that they're not going to have a huge increase in costs over the years. They want to have the delivery of a good quality product. And I think the one that I've noticed that probably we haven't discussed is what a surety there is that this cannot be privatised. I know we've talked about it, but what's in here to assure people that this cannot be privatised?
So I'll talk to the first 2 points really quickly. I think what the analysis, the financial analysis shows us is while there will be cost increases over the long term for people, those increases will be lessened by the option of going with a multi-council. So the impact will be lesser. We're not saying that there won't be increases in cost. Ariel, do you want to talk to or privatisation?
Just through the chair, in relation to privatisation, there are provisions that are in the Act itself that will mean that won't happen. So some of the learnings from what's happened before has been incorporated into the latest legislation, particularly in this case.
Okay, any further questions? No? Okay. Oh, sorry, Councillor Mowbray.
Could I ask, Mr. Holyoke, working with Tauranga City, we've been doing that quite well. Is that one of the options we're going up with? If not, why not?
It's included in the options that we are doing the analysis around. It includes Tauranga, and it also includes other councils that we've previously spoken about. When we go out in our consultation document, we're not calling out or naming those particular councils because we're wary that those combinations of councils could change in the next few months. So we want to be more general than that. We have also decided though, and as have Tauranga City, that we will talk about a preferred option that we are working together, and the rationale for that around it, it makes sense given our proximity, the fact that we're currently got joined up maintenance contracts, we're joined at the pipe. So we will definitely be mentioning that we are in discussion with TCC, as will they when they consult.
My second question is what it was. We were always told that our water assets were in good condition. And when you look forward, it's not quite that same. And when did we realise that we weren't quite up to the mark?
I don't think that we're suggesting that our water assets aren't in a good condition. They are in a good condition. But like anything, they will come to end of life. As you know, we've got some big investments that we need to make over the next few years around wastewater treatment plants, around the outfall pipe in Katikati. So we've got some big investments that we need to make, and then just whole of life, a lot of our assets coming to the end of its life, the new standards that we're going to have to meet as well. So all of those things combined mean that there is significant investment that we're going to have to make over the coming years. No one is suggesting that our assets are in disrepair or aren't at a good standard at the moment. It's about looking after the future.
So could I ask the other question on the ring fencing? How difficult is that to unravel?
Through the chair. So it isn't difficult at the moment. Each of our water activities has its own report, if you like. So you'll see that in our annual report, and we've got the individual funding impact statements. And so we're currently tracking each activity on its own. But under the new regulations, irrespective of what happens, we will be required to produce annual reports that, separately from the rest of our information. It's a requirement under the Act.
Councillor Joyce.
So it's a bit of an experiment. Also, I'm just going to try not to have feedback. The increase in charges that we're anticipating, hopefully they'll be balanced at least in part by a lesser need to fund through rates. So will the consultation document look at the other half of, as well as the increase in costs that people are likely to face on the water charges, also the decrease in costs we'll hopefully see on the rates side of things?
We can tell that story, yes.
Okay, Councillor Sol.
Thank you, sir. Basically, I'm looking at this and I just would like to know perhaps why we have not just shown a combination of this without TCC. I know they offer the critical mass, etc., but I do think some of the public would probably like to know, and it would probably be, if the preferred point that we've gone out with, it could be the selling factor, that we have some idea of what that looks like.
Councillor, that's exactly how we'll go out. As part of the consultation document, we'll have to show the option of our status quo position. Sorry if I misunderstood.
Sorry, sir. I mean, whether we join with other smaller councils, not with TCC. That was really where I was, it just doesn't bring that into an equation.
Yeah, I understand. And the financial analysis, what we've been lucky with so far is that Mark and Jenkins has helped us to look at the financial analysis, and they are au fait with all of the councils that we're talking to, and are able to provide us with different combinations around that financial analysis. And you'll see that in the report, the detail that was loaded this morning, appreciating that it was only loaded up this morning. So we are able to do that analysis at any stage. And as I said before, it will be interesting to see whether the 4 councils that we're currently working with, whether some of those pull out, stay or not. So the ability to do that is definitely there. I think it's really important to, in some respects, separate. If we go out in our consultation document at a reasonably high level, and that is not to be vague with our residents, it's to protect the flexibility of what might happen through negotiations, through some councils coming and going around the facilitation table when we're trying to work out exactly what this deal looks like. And that's why we've previously explained our preferred approach to, rather than go out with exact numbers, to go out with ranges to show our residents what the benefits of a multi-council will look like.
Okay, so I'm not seeing any further questions, so I'm happy to move these. Another one, okay.
Could I ask Mr. Holyoke if you could ensure that I noticed that Taupo, for example, have already given a general statement on video by their deputy mayor, just talking about the 3 waters generally. And I think people are looking for that from our council as well, so that we start to engage them now in the process, so that it doesn't just hit them surprisingly.
I think, and we have got some information already on our website, but I think any ideas around consultation are well received. As I said right at the beginning of my overview, this is a very big decision for council, and I think it's incredibly important that we reach as many people as we can. So we'll take that on board.
The notion of a video has been broached with me, so we'll see where that goes. But early stages.
I think they were suggesting the deputy mayor.
Okay, so as I said, I'm happy to move those 10 recommendations. So I'm looking for a seconder, Councillor Murray Benge. Thank you. I'll just start off with my view. I first want to thank staff and Martin Jenkins for a large amount of work and analysis that's been done. It's clear that the multi-council CCO provides the best outcomes and is clearly signalled and is the clearly signalled preferred option for central government. And it's also important to demonstrate that we can work together well with Tauranga City Council for the prospect of a regional deal. It will be interesting to hear the views from the community about local order done well reform, and I look forward to hearing those views and making a final decision in due course. So I will be voting for this and open to any other views. Councillor Wickers.
I'd just like to reiterate what the Mayor said in regard to the leadership really within the council, getting us to this position with good information, going early and going hard was great. We just note that we are constrained by what's been put forward to us. So this, from people who perhaps don't spend a lot of time in looking into this, they're going to view this as a done deal when we have acknowledged that this is more an information type consultation, because in reality, it's very clear that we don't have a lot of wiggle room. So I'll be voting in support of this, and just thanks again to the staff for getting us into this position.
Thank you, Councillor Wickers. Anyone else? No? Oh, there we are. Councillor Cox said, I did have you down, sorry.
I just wanted to say thank you to the staff as well. We are very well placed in terms of the information we received, and I think compared to some other councils, we're in a very good position in terms of information. So huge thank you to the CEO and the team that you've led to get us through this far. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cox said. Councillor Thwaites.
Yep, I do support it too, and I look forward to the consultation document really teasing out the whole issue of stormwater. I don't believe it should be glossed over at all. We've seen firsthand now from the effects of Cyclone Gabrielle and earlier weather events, and we're seeing it play out in Wairoa and Hastings and Auckland and other areas, that some of these are long-standing historical issues that aren't going to be solved fast and aren't just necessarily part of a pipe. So I'd certainly like to see the options for stormwater. Of no need to explain that I've always favoured that the stormwater activity does stay within council, or the area that the council activity that represents that area, because, like I said, some of them are long-standing. Houses have been built in the wrong places for years, and it's going to take years to unwind. We actually had a speaker in public forum today raise an issue of stormwater impacts on the community. It's far more than just pipes. So that's my only point I want to make. I really want to see the stormwater thing teased out and options being made available. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Thwaites. I'm sure we'll have those discussions in due course. Next, I have Councillor Murray Bench.
Thank you, sir. I think this is probably the most important issue that will confront us this term, and it will have consequences for decades to come for the people of this district. How the future of the district looks after this is done will really raise more questions, and we'll look for more answers. The quality of our staff and the way we have performed to date has been really good, and I just think that this is a tough decision that we have to make. The information that has been provided is superb, and I cannot fault the quality of the information that staff have provided us with. And so, sir, the next steps is that the people of the community will want to understand totally, because obviously it's going to affect them financially, but at the same time, if not now, their children, it will affect them. So this is really something that everyone in the community should be au fait with and be prepared to go ahead with what we actually decide. I think if we do that decision well and we communicate well, people will be satisfied. I need to get it above the 39% of people who feel as though we communicate well. If we can increase that in this particular exercise, we will well serve our community, sir.
Thank you, Councillor Murray Bench. Councillor Ray.
Thank you, Mayor. Firstly, I'd just like to thank staff, the CEO and our staff that have been working on this. Also, Martin Jenkins as well. Unfortunately, I cannot support this today. I feel that waters is something that we have rated for as a council all my life. And I just feel like we just need to get on with it. And it's one of our core business things that we should have always been doing and we have done. But I don't feel that we need to take it away. And keeping it as status quo sounds more favorable to me. It's pretty clear that I will probably lose that, today, but as long as I'm able to say what I think, then it doesn't matter. Water, it's a precious natural resource. We all need it to survive. Too many unknowns for me, and I just can't support it.
Thank you, councillor. I appreciate your views, sharing your views there. Councillor Joyce.
I think I've sorted out my audio, so hopefully I don't want to repeat what previous speakers have said. I do appreciate the great deal of work that's gone in. I've just remind everybody that, we are going out to consultation on this. There's no final decision being made on how it works with water, although, as others have said, there's a big hand on our back from the government, or a series of governments, frankly. We will need to watch whatever happens, because increasingly our say over the water assets are being removed bit by bit, either through the regulators, through this process, and others. I would remind everybody that, a lot of this discussion has happened behind closed doors in the lead up to now, and I understand the reasons for that, because it's a very complicated issue and we had to get our heads around it. But for the public, today's agenda has a lot of new information, and there's going to be, some of our traditional council watchers who dive into the detail. There's going to be some questions, and I hope those are welcomed, because I understand the consultation document has to go to a lot of people with varying levels of interest, but there's a lot of detail in today's agenda that people are seeing in the public for the first time. So I think we should be really ready for questions from that, and make sure, I'm sure it'll be loaded onto the website, beyond just the agenda, so people can find it much more easily. But that level of detail does reflect the importance of this decision. And, I think we can expect some of our favourite council watchers to ask questions, and I welcome that.
Thank you, Councillor Joyce. I think that's a good point, and it's worth noting that, the detail is there in the agenda for those who want to dive into it, but also the consultation will no doubt take a slightly higher level and more approachable level of investigation. So I think that's a good point you made there. But I've got Councillor Sol next.
Thank you, sir. And again, a lot of work done by staff, and I can only thank them so much for what they've done. It's been pretty hard, and yes, there's been a hand behind government pushing all the time, but hey, the information we've got so far is pretty good, and it's really quite clear where things probably need to go. Today, our decision is more about, I guess, endorsing the going out to the public, and then we start to hear what they have to say. But also, sir, it's very simple today for me, the decision to follow the recommendations. We're here as governors. Our job is governance. Our job is to work for the good of the district and its ratepayers. So I think, sir, it's a very straightforward situation today, and we'll go ahead and support it.
Thank you, Councillor Sol. So I don't see any other further questions, so I will put the motion for those 10 recommendations. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Carried. Yes, please. We'll record Councillor Ray's vote against. Thank you. And with that, let's check my notes. I shall declare the meeting closed at 1:09. Thank you very much, everyone.